Yo, 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 what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy podcast presented to you by DSM Media, as well as your host, myself, Slim. You can follow me on X at Artura30111. You can follow the other host here, Scotty and as you can see by the title today, we'll be recapping the NBA All-Star Weekend, as well as outlooking the second half of the NBA season. Should be great talks for sure. Not too much to dive into, but enough to dive into. But before we get into any topics, my guy Scott, how you feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. We back to the work week. I had a nice little holiday yesterday. Got the day off, so that was nice. I was sick over the weekend, which you knew. I like just to give you a clue, bro. I didn't even tell you this off air, but basically when I woke up on like Saturday, I had like a ball like sticking out of my lower jaw. My lymph node was like just swollen for whatever reason.
God damn.
And I told you about the back pain and shit. So I don't know what happened. It was an infection of some sort in this area in my body, but I'm good now, at least able to get back to work and stuff. But I'm
That's what's
feeling
up.
good, bro. We're into the second half of the NBA season. But I appreciate you asking, man. Hope you enjoyed the All-Star weekend. I know we're going to talk about it, but I thought it was after like really thinking about it, really looking back on the weekend, I think it was pretty solid. I think it was pretty solid, but we'll obviously dive a bit deeper into that.
Yeah, I think it was pretty solid too. I think overall, when you look at everything that took place, I give it a win. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's the
but
best way to start it. Yeah.
yep. But let's kick the show off talking about the NBA All Star Weekend. So for me, man, for my money, honestly, I just love the whole concept of it. I thought it was something different and needed. You had Team World
Yeah.
versus USA versus Stripes. Essentially, it's just like three teams divided up. Mainly people that's not from the United States playing for the world, and then for the United States, and then the Stripes, mainly the players from the US. They just was separated in a sense. So honestly, I think that the shorter games kind of created a more so sense of urgency. Like guys want to compete more. You
Yeah.
know, they actually competed on both sides to an extent. You're seeing guys kind of being dialed in, communicating in that aspect. Gotta give Kawhi Leonard a lot of love too. My man had like 31 minutes and 31 points in 12 minutes. It's
Yeah.
kind of impressive. And it lets you know, like an OG like that to be engaged and involved with the All-Star game, kind of lets you know, like, hey, it meant something to him too. But obviously, the Clippers hosted the event. And so for him to be like locked in, competing, that was a good thing for sure. But in the end, though, the young guys they took over, man. Jalen
They
Johnson,
did.
Anthony Edwards, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Duren. They kind of took it home. Anthony Edwards ended up winning the All Star Game MVP, the first of his career. And so, honestly, I think that this is for sure one of the most competitive All Star game in recent years. I
Yeah.
literally just sent you the link. The link they said that this is
Yeah.
the most viewed All Star game in 15 years. For my money, I have a hard time believing that, but it may be true. But nonetheless, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, no, to your point that you just made, I feel you. Like I have a hard time believing it as well, but maybe it's just like NFL's over. There's nothing else on Sunday evening. Maybe
That's
people were
fair.
just casually watching it. It's that time of year now. People are going to start floating over to the basketball world. But no, I basically I agree with you. I thought it was very competitive, especially the main All Star game. I thought you saw like Wemby's like disappointment after his team lost a couple times. He was out there
Anything
getting
like that.
frustrated. He was competing at a very high level. To your point about Kawhi, one of the older heads, he was out there getting after it. Even LeBron saw him out there with some putback slams, right? Like everybody was trying to get after it.
Mhm.
To your point, though, the young guns in the end, they were able to fly high, right? Ant leading the way, Maxey led the way in that second game. But how did you feel about that? Because, like, obviously that's an advantage for the younger legs, right? Like when you're playing multiple games throughout the night like that, like do you
Definitely.
like I don't know, like I guess it is just part of the tournament, right? Like you just got to play your cards, but it's almost like unfair when you think about
I
those young
mean,
guys.
yeah, like I agree. Like you seen that the OGs was kind of gas,
Yeah.
KD, Bron, Kawhi. They just couldn't get a shot to fall. So
And
it is definitely an advantage for the young guns.
they're taking breaks in between these games as well, right? Like which
Mhm.
that's a whole other like trying to get back in rhythm. So yeah, to your point, like it was just you could tell it was hard for them older guys to get back in rhythm, especially shooting. A lot of those shots were short in that last game, but overall, I was fairly pleased with the viewing pleasure of the whole situation, and I do think that's ultimately what the NBA was going for there. And another note that I'll toss back to you, bro, was looking at that younger USA team. You can kind of just start to see the future of the like actual USA team being formed. And
Yep.
I'm looking at Cade Cunningham, bro, and I'm just thinking about how much of like he could fit like in any system almost. Like, is he that versatile of a player that he could? It's almost like he could play beside anyone and find success because he's just so good all around. And it just felt like even with Ant doing his thing in this game, he wins MVP, rightfully so. He led the way. You have other guys stepping up as well, right? But it just felt like Cade was at the center of everything, even with the attention divided the way it was. And I don't know, that was just a takeaway I had, man. Cade, he truly looks like the future of USA basketball, the NBA, all of it. And it's kind of crazy to me just how he's just arrived on this, rightfully so, but he's fully arrived.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the Team USA definitely got a head start in like scouting. The
Yeah,
bigs, Jalen Duren, Chet Holmgren,
yeah,
to the wings, Jalen Johnson, all those guys are guards.
yeah,
We definitely in for a treat. 2028, man. So be on the lookout for that. But
absolutely.
yeah, man, I also guarantee me to not disappoint, and I agree with everything you said. Shifting gears over to the 3-point contest, though, man, I think
Yeah,
that was very entertaining in its own right.
yeah.
You seeing Con Kneppel, D Book, and Dame Dollar meet up in the final round. Initially, bro, I had Damian Lillard win this contest.
Okay. So you
His
sold.
form is just his form is so pretty. And
Yeah,
Booker, honestly, it was a good competition. Just seeing the competitiveness, and honestly, it's a good thing that the NBA even allowed him to compete in the
I agree.
contest, considering the fact that he hasn't played a game this season. And
I agree.
so, it's a good thing to see that. And then I just sent you a post that he DM'd Steph. They trying to get some going next year. Dame Dollar, Steph, potentially Klay Thompson, Devin Booker, and more real shooters in the league. And I think that 3-point contest would do numbers for sure. But what are your thoughts on the 3-point contest?
No, I thought you hit the nail on the head. Dame, I thought that was, I guess I just didn't see it beforehand, and kudos to you for seeing it because it was like one of those legendary moments, and people can try to downplay it if they want to. I get what the All-Star weekend is kind of turned into. It's like something
Yeah,
that guys don't get a ton of credit for winning these different competitions, but at the end of the day, he did something that nobody else has done in NBA history. He's a three-time 3-point
3 times.
contest winner. He does it in a season where he has not played a single minute on the court. So the fact that he's able to come out, get the shots up, you talk about his form, you talk about the quick release. That's an art in itself, being able to get through all of the balls on the rack, on all of those racks around the arc. That's an art with itself, because you saw multiple guys in that competition struggle to even get all the shots up. So
Yeah,
that in itself, plus the efficiency that he makes the shot, it's just ridiculous. He's obviously one of the best shooters in NBA history. I think you can certify that. But it was just awesome to see him come out and just have success like that. It probably gave him a ton of confidence to eventually return to his NBA career. And I don't know about you. I was worried, man. I was a little worried that we maybe had seen the last of Dame Dollar. Maybe we had seen the last of. I'm not gonna assume that he's gonna get back to like elite territory, but I think he has some good ball left in him with the way he can shoot the ball and score the rock. So what I'm trying to say, similar to Embiid before seeing him come back from his recent knee injury and how worried I was
mhm,
with his future, that's how I was feeling about Dame Dollar as well, because he's been through a lot of shit the last couple seasons, and
yeah,
luck has not been on his side. And in that competition, I think that changed a bit, man.
yeah. I completely agree with everything. We in for a treat next year, though, man. Steph,
I do
the
agree.
OGs, man. Klay Thompson, Book. It should be
Book.
fun for sure.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I like that. I like that. Steph
might even.
needs to be in it against Dame. We need to see that.
Yeah.
Um, Khan, he's another one that I think going forward he needs to be in that zone. He's a dead eye shooter as well. And D Book, man, he's only shooting like what 31% from the 3-point line on the season. He ends up a finalist in the competition against Dame. So kind of goes to show you, like, don't read into the percentages too much going into that as well. But I did want to give you a heads up, because I know before we got on here, StreamYard did mention there's some issue on X right now where the stream is not like popping up for us to like retweet it. Different things.
I was just about to ask you about that.
I've been
trying to retweet it for the past 5 minutes. I don't see it.
Because I was trying to find the shit myself, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. I saw a message from StreamYard, so we apologize about that if it's not streaming correctly on X. Hopefully we can get that fixed for the next episode. But I wanted to give you a heads up as well, my man.
Yeah, appreciate it. But no, man, I consider it to be a pretty successful All-Star weekend. Obviously, there are some things that need to get worked on, such as the dunk contest, things of that nature. But that's a conversation for a whole nother day. So let's kind of pivot away from All-Star.
You're right, though.
Pretty good weekend. We're going to shift gear to next, man. Which team need to make another run in the second half of the season, or what?
Yeah. Let's switch pages and start looking ahead towards the rest of the season, brother. What I was thinking, coming into this show, maybe we could pick 2 teams from each conference that we feel needs to kick off this second half, and they need to kick it off fast in order to stay in contention. Okay. I'll go first here just to give you an idea of where I'm at. I'll start in the Eastern Conference. I'm looking at obviously my own Sixers. I think they're a team that obviously needs to keep up pace. They don't have Paul George right now. He's going to be out until basically the end of the season. I think he has like 2 or 3 games he'll be able to come back and play. Obviously, it's bro, that's a whole other conversation as well. Paul George and his amount of games versus like some of these other guys that are doing stuff off the court and their punishments. It is a little fishy. It's like somebody has an issue with Paul George, but that's a combo for a different day. Embiid's knee issue that popped up again going into the All-Star break. I'm hoping that goes away. Tyrese Maxey playing a lot of minutes. They have one of the easier schedules in the second half, but they do have some tough road matchups. It's something like 8 road games in the next 3 weeks after the All-Star break. So gotta keep pace. The other team I'm looking at, bro, in the East is the Orlando Magic. Because now they're on pace to be for my money, a very big disappointment in the Eastern Conference this season. And with that, I'll throw it over to you, bro. Is there any teams that you have your eyes on in the East?
Oh yeah, for sure. Number one, man, I got to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. Additions like Usman Dang and Cam Thomas raise offensive ceiling questions for sure. Like you seen what Cam Thomas did against the Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
my man got buckets against him. I think that's something they needed when you look at the makeup of their teams, as well as a guy like Dang. Talking about a guy that's 6'10", can defend, can knock down shots. You add all that together, plus maybe you get Giannis back. Maybe he's more motivated to come back and play. And so I think that additions like that could potentially make Giannis want to come back and end the second half of the season strong. Maybe they get into the play-in tournament. Maybe they become a playoff team. Who knows? But that's a team that I think has to make a huge run in the second half of the season. Secondly, man, I'm going to go with the Charlotte Hornets.
I like that.
I think that up until the point before that fight happened last week, they was on a good path. They won a lot of games. Brandon Miller has been consistent. LaMelo been better. Like the starting lineup that they had rarely lost any games. So it's a young core that's constantly growing with each other. A fair amount of vets over there. We still forgot Kobe White has yet to make his debut. Maybe he comes in and be like that X factor that helps them potentially go on a run. But I think that this is a team that could potentially be a play-in team for sure. Maybe even a playoff team. But I think that the Milwaukee Bucks in the East and the Charlotte Hornets are 2 teams that can make a huge run, or should look to make a huge run in the second half of the season.
Yeah, no, I think those are great call-outs because it's a little different perspective than what I had, but I appreciate it nonetheless. looking at Charlotte, man, they're the nine seed right now. What, 2.5 games back of the Miami Heat? In a one game scenario, is there any team in the play-in right now that Charlotte like couldn't beat? You know what I mean? Like if Brandon Miller has a hot night, if LaMelo Ball has a hot night, we know what Khan can do. Miles Bridges, they got attacking power. You mentioned Kobe White hasn't even played. So I do love that call out. They're right outside of the playoffs right now. They're in the play-in tournament. And I do think they're dangerous when you can score the ball the way they
for sure.
spread the floor. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're interesting. You mentioned it. Maybe they make the playoffs, maybe they don't. These players are auditioning to be next to Giannis, or maybe auditioning for the Bucks to keep Giannis, to your point. So I do like both of those picks, man. But I'll let you go first with the West. What do you think about in the Western Conference?
For the Western Conference, man, obviously I got to kick this thing off with the Golden State Warriors. We need to figure out an identity with Porzingis very quickly. Steph Window, he's getting older, man. So it has to be a sense of urgency every night. We can't take these games for granted. And I'm just excited to see what Porzingis looks like in a Warriors uniform. And I think that he brings something to this team that we really has not ever had. You're talking about a 7'3" guy who can stretch the floor, protect the rim.
Yeah.
He get buckets in the post if need be. So I think that the next 20 games or so decide if this roster is dangerous or just solid. Like I was as a fan, I don't expect us just to go out there and compete for a title, but I do want us to kind of be in the mix of things. So I think that we can for sure be a playoff team if we start clicking early, starting this upcoming Thursday against the Celtics. So, yeah, that's the first team. And the second team, man, I'm going with the Los Angeles Clippers. I think that younger pieces mixed in with the Kawhi timeline could do wonders. Matherin and Garland, as well as who else did they get? Isaiah Jackson. All those young guys compared to the vets. It's a nice mixture, in my opinion. So the Clippers aren't necessarily rebuilding; they're just retooling in real time. So, I'm saying I think that's a team that should look to trying to go out there and make at least a play-in for sure. I think Kawhi is one of those guys who come playoff time, he's just one of those dudes. So it just makes the most sense to just try to get there. So
No, I like the Clippers nod because I think a lot of people, including myself, I mean, in the back of my mind, I've kind of just crossed them out. But to your point, I mean, Darius Garland is what is it fair, like all-star level guard? Like I don't know if that's fair to say. He hasn't made an all-star team, right? I'm not sure.
No, he has.
Has he? Did he make it?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, okay. So an all-star guard level. Just want to give him his right praise, right? And then Benedict Mathurin, we've talked about him before on the pod, but I feel like we're both pretty high on his potential and what he can become, and maybe he can learn some things from Kawhi. So, yeah, man, I like the nod. We'll see how it goes. To your point, this may be once again a tryout for Kawhi or players to be next to Kawhi, or if Kawhi's going to stay in LA. So we'll see how the season plays out. I do agree with you wholeheartedly on the Warriors. And, it's not from the sense, like you said, of winning a championship, but just get to the dance and give yourself a chance with Steph Curry and company. And you never really know what can happen. All it takes is a few injuries, knock on wood. And you guys have already got hit by the injuries, right? All it takes is a few injuries the other way, and all of a sudden, who knows what can happen. So it's all about just making the dance and giving yourself a chance. And I do think Kristaps Porzingis, that's an interesting addition next to a guy like Steph Curry with his floor spacing and rim protection. It seems like a perfect fit. I did want to ask you, is he set to play, or does he have some time before he returns? Or is he going to play like this Thursday?
Yeah, he's playing this Thursday for sure. That's the goal.
So we'll get to see it very
against his former team, the Celtics. So how ironic that is.
Interesting. So he should be motivated. But no, I think when you look at the Warriors, they have from what I was reading, I think it's like the 22nd hardest schedule left in the rest of the way. So they have a fairly easy schedule. They should be able to take advantage, and hopefully KP can show you something, man. That was a guy that used to be a superstar when he was on the Knicks. So he's obviously got a lot of talent in there. We'll see what he can do with the Warriors. The other team will stay in LA. It's the Lakers, man. You've had Luka beat up going into the All-Star break. LeBron, obviously a little bit older. You had Austin Reeves returning from injury. You added a few pieces. before the All-Star break, before the trade deadline. I mean, and I think obviously you look at LeBron, you don't know the way he's talking, the way shit looks. It feels like this could be his last season. If not, it's next season. The clock is on. You talk about Curry's clock. It's the same thing with LeBron. It's the same thing with the Lakers. But you do have Luka. I believe he's going to be returning after the All-Star break. But it's time for them to turn it on, because I just talked about the strength of schedule for the Warriors. The Lakers have the 5th hardest schedule the rest of the way. And they're a half game in front of Houston for the 5 seed right now. So I think they're going to have to kick off the second part of the season. They're going to have to kick it off fast. So we're going to see themselves out of the postseason. So we'll see. Both LA teams keeping it in California in the West. Those teams are on the watch list.
Yeah, for sure. Both great talking points. You know, the Lakers are a good team. Who else you said in the East? The Magic. That's definitely a disappointing team. Definitely disappointing this year, bro. But yeah, nonetheless, no, we have not said nothing about MJ yet, Martian. So we're going to keep this thing rolling. Rick of the Year race, my guy. Again, this is something that you brought to my attention. I wouldn't necessarily say the Rick of the Year race is wide open. VJ Edcon won the Rising Stars MVP, was it? So it boosted. Yeah, so it kind of boosted his narrative in the sense like he started the season off very, very hot. He kind of came back down to earth a little bit, but he's been back on the come up. But when you talk about guys like Cooper Flag, though, man, like he started the season off kind of like struggling. But once he figured it out, bro, he's been rolling ever since.
I know.
But I must say this, though, Con Knippen, since day one, has been consistent. Like from the first game of the season till now, he's figured it out. So for me, though, bro, like, I think it kind of comes down to just those two. With all due respect to VJ, I think Cooper Flag and Con Knippen just kind of can be seen in a different light in a sense, just more consistent production, efficient scoring, the high IQ, it all adds up. But what are your thoughts on that though, man? Like I know you can show love to your guy, but
yeah, absolutely. But no, I think you make great points. It's Coop leading the way. It's Khan second right there behind him. And I think what you're speaking on a little bit there is their usage. I mean, they're two of the main guys on their rosters as well, man. You look at Coop, he is the main guy in Dallas. And then Khan, you can say what you want. I know there's other nights where it's Brandon Miller, it's LaMelo Ball, right? But Khan, he has his nights as well, man, and he does it consistently, which is why his numbers are so great, why the efficiency is so great. The reason I brought this up to you with VJ is, yes, he would maybe be maybe third behind those two, and those two are ahead of him by a good margin, I would say right now. No PG the rest of the way. He's playing these maxed out minutes. I'm just thinking maybe this All-Star break can give him a little bit of a boost. No PG, there's going to be more opportunity for him to produce, just more usage in general. He obviously has to take advantage of it. That's what it comes down to, because his numbers just aren't what Coop and then Cons are right now. They just have better numbers in general right now. So yeah, he's going to have to step up his play, but I don't think it's impossible with the Sixers. Say if they're able to get into the top 4, and maybe you don't count record into it. I don't know how Rookie of the Year, because I'm thinking in my head, I'm giving Khan a little bit of credit for getting the Hornets into the play-in right now and getting the Hornets. It's not, take that with a grain of salt, of course. But no, I think there is a world where VJ could get back into the race. It's going to be really hard. Coop was dealing with an injury. I think he's going to be good coming out of the All-Star break. I think he just rested through the All-Star break to kind of make sure he was good the rest of the way. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think this rookie class has been awesome, to be very clear. I think there's quite a few studs in this class. But yeah, I love seeing VJ shine in those big moments, because that is some of what he's been able to show. It doesn't show always in the stat sheet, but in that Rising Stars Challenge, I think he scored the last 10 points for his team to win the championship, or the winning tournament game, whatever you want to call it. And that's just who he is. In the big moments, he will show up. He does hit big shots, weirdly enough, not being like a pure shooter. So yeah, I'm excited, but yeah, I agree with you. I think you got to give the nod to Khan and Coop right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Giannis said that Con Canepa is one of the most smartest rookies he's ever seen. So his
And
IQ for the game, man, is just kind of different for sure. Same with
it
Cooper Flag,
is.
man. He's to your point, it ain't easy for a rookie to kind of be the number one option on a night-to-night basis and
Yeah.
kind of respond in great fashion. And he has been doing it. Like,
Yeah.
isn't he like the youngest player in NBA history to score like, is it 50 or 48? Something like
Was it
that. I don't know.
I
I
think
think
it
it's
was
probably
in the
40.
40s, but still, it
Yeah.
was approaching 50. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's ridiculous. And to your point about Khan, as a Duke fan, it's crazy to say it, but I miss Khan being on Duke more than I miss Coop. And that's no disrespect to Coop. Khan is such a smart player, an efficient player. He makes the right decisions and he can shoot the laces off the ball. It's ridiculous, man. But
Okay.
what about MVP, bro? Who would be your MVP right now coming out of All-Star break?
Give me Cade Cunningham, man. Pistons sitting the number one seed in the Eastern
Right.
Conference. Elite playmaking numbers. He's averaging 25 plus points per game, nearly 10 assists, second in the league in assists.
Yeah.
He has a 43% assist percentage. So, he's not just scoring, he's pretty much running everything, the whole offense of that team. Durability. He's played in most of the games this season thus far. That definitely matters. MVP requires 65 games. Like I just said, availability definitely matters.
Yeah.
He flipped his team from being a rebuilding team a few years ago to now fast forward to now to being number one seed in the Eastern Conference. So that kind of says a lot. This isn't just a breakout season; it's a franchise changing season. Like last year, they made the playoffs, but sometimes you don't see teams kind of pivot off that. I'll give you a good example. Look at the Sacramento Kings. That was a team that started making the playoffs, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
they just started going down. Meanwhile, Detroit Pistons, they made to the playoffs last year, and they made all the way up. So, I got to give this man a lot of credit, for sure. And I think that he's worthy of a win MVP. I don't see why not.
No, that is so interesting, bro. Because I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I know I talked to you before the show. I talked to you at the beginning of the show about that young Stars team and how Ant shine, but like just watching them, you see what Cade means. You obviously see it, the passing, the defense, the scoring, all of it when it comes to Detroit. And yeah, to Martian's point, I don't know that the typical names are out of it because I think Jokic is like approaching this crazy triple double record right now this season or something. SGA is still right there with the Thunder and where they're at in the West. You could throw? I'm trying to think
Jaylen
right now.
Brown.
Jaylen Brown. You could throw maybe Jalen Brunson maybe for the Knicks. There's a couple different avenues you could go. The interesting thing with Jokic, if he misses 2 more games, he will be ineligible to win it at all. To your point about the 65 game mark. So could end up coming back to bite him. To be fair, I don't think that he would win it anyways. I think he is completely fatigued. I don't think he's going to get the votes, but he is once again having one of those. He's that player. Like I used to argue against it maybe 2-3 years ago with the Embiid shit, but he does this shit each and every night. Jokic is always in that combo. But yeah, I think Cade is that fresh face. I think that along with the production and where the Pistons are at, yeah, I would go with Cade as well, man. We agree. Wow. How about that?
We agree. Surprisingly so. I think, Jaylen Brown definitely is one of those dudes. You got to give him a lot of love because I was one.
Yeah.
I didn't have the Boston Celtics being as high as there is right now. I thought at best they could be a playing team, but he's been rallying the troops, been leading the guys each and every night, and he's putting up career numbers. He's averaging like 30 points, top 5 in
Yeah.
scoring. I know for sure. So that kind of lets
Yeah.
you know you got to give Joe Mazzulla a lot of credit too. He could
Yeah.
be a candidate for Coach of the Year. He's been coaching his ass out this season. So yeah,
Jaylen Brown is right there. He's right there.
Mhm.
He might be number 2 for me, man.
Yeah. Wemby in the MVP race. They're the second seed in the lower Western Conference. I don't see why he don't get some recognition.
Some love. I don't think he should win it right now. He's not leading the way for me, but he deserves some conversation. I can go with that, man.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It is interesting, man. Cade Cunningham, but Jaylen Brown, you're making me rethink everything. I don't know. Like, what is more impressive? What Jaylen Brown's doing with the Boston roster, or what Cade is doing with the Detroit roster?
It depends on how you look at it, because the Celtics don't have no scrubs over there. They got Peyton Pritchard, they got Vucevic now. Yeah, they got Derek White. Yeah.
It'd be interesting, seeing that Simons trade, how that impacts them. Got Vooch coming off. Well, at least he was coming off the bench before the All-Star break. We'll see how that impacts their success. Because Simons was a spark plug off the bench. He was performing nice for them. But second half of the season should be fun, my brother. You got anything else before we get out of here, my man?
That's pretty much it, man. Turn notifications on. Me and my guy Scotty may look up again this week. Pretty good All-Star weekend, to say the least. Definitely the better ones I kind of witnessed in recent years. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Appreciate y'all. Peace, everybody.